begin to appear from our work as time moves forward. We'll pay you back and your kids back by helping remind people, of their economic rights and that they deserve a standard of living in this modern world. And you can do this by going to taxwallstreetparty.org. In the top right-hand corner, there's a PayPal button. You enter $20 and hit the button that says recurring monthly. Top right-hand corner, enter $20 and hit the button that says recurring monthly. I will put you down as a dues-paying member, and then we can talk about what further action you'd like to take. So that's where I'm at now, Webster. We can go into some general stuff that our party is doing and more stuff about Ariza if we have some time.
I'm afraid
we don't have time. I suspected we didn't.
You ended exactly on schedule. Thank you so much, Daniela. And this is a going concern. This is growing. We're sweeping aside the cobwebs of decades in some cases. And Daniela Walls is a big part of it. So we'll be hearing from her again next week with another operations report from Washington, D.C., wrapping up our broadcast now, taped on Friday, the 20th of February. Concerning Syria and the Middle East, we've got this awful news. The U.S. and Turkey have agreed to train Syrian terrorists and give them weapons. We're told heavy machine guns on the back of Toyota pickup trucks. Those will be going directly into the hands of ISIS. Let's get clear. Whatever you give the Syrian terrorist rebels will go to ISIS, and you'll be held responsible, and you'll be impeached, or you'll be indicted as soon as some civilian airliner is shot down by these crazies. These barbarians, these savages, indeed the negation of civilization, that's their conduit, right, to get aid. And, of course, behind any deal between the United States and Turkey, we know who did this. This is the ISIS czar. This is the nefarious former General John Allen, the disgraced womanizer. He did it with emails, but his pal, Petraeus, did it, so to speak, in the flesh. This is an awful event. And the hypocrisy of the U.S. I was able to to go through these issues on the Russia Today Arabic service in an interview that was, I think, broadcast live yesterday, Thursday, the 19th. And in any case, I'm hoping to get a link to this interview on the Russia Today Arabic service. Egypt, General Sisi, the new Nasser, and a viable and very important figure, has taken the lead in clobbering ISIS in the Derna area. Well, if you're listening to this program, go to tarpley.net. Just look up Derna, D-E-R-N-A. Sometimes it's spelled Darna, D-A-R-N-A. It's Benghazi, Derna, Tobruk. And Derna happens to be the world capital of terrorists, of suicide bombers. Per capita, it beats out any other area. So this is a monstrosity. So some of those guys were hurled into eternity by the Egyptian Air Force. And then you look at the State Department, and you look at those long faces, and Madame Saki, and the rest of them, and that Admiral Kirby. Oh my God, this guy looks like an admiral from Vichy. So they say the U.S. does not approve of Egypt doing that. And we know what that is. We had some people on cable TV this week. There's a group in the National Security Council, it could be any number of people, and in the State Department, who actively support the Muslim Brotherhood, and therefore they support ISIS. And this group has to go. They've got to be cleaned out. They've got to be purged, fired, ousted. So that is what is crippling U.S. policy. So you're going to pick a fight with Egypt, the most important country, the most important military, and politically the most interesting. Notice we had, and we'll try to get more details, the summit between Russian President Putin and President Sisi of Egypt, the neo-Nasserist. And many good things came out of that. Above all, that Russia will build a modern nuclear reactor for Egypt. So Egypt gets to come into the modern age. And you can be sure that Netanyahu, right, with his obsession about the Iranian nuclear program, he's going to open up a new front. I can predict it in regard to Egypt, saying you must not be allowed to have a peaceful nuclear reactor. This is insanity. No country can be independent. No country can be taken seriously. As General de Gaulle said in 1958, unless you have a full nuclear cycle, and including all of the, as in particular, the peaceful uses, in this case, if you don't have that under control, you don't have a full set economy. So that crew, the ISIS czar and his gang, right, in favor of the Muslim Brotherhood, then this is what's working it out. Obama, wake up. We realize that Obama is not as bad as many of the people around him, but I think Obama has he's taken far too many rotten compromises now, and this is going to drag him down too, because once that war starts, it's all finished. Just a couple of things. We're told constantly, Germany is the economic powerhouse of the European Union. My God, what a lot of nonsense. If you go back, take a look at Tarpley.net and put in Hartz, H-A-R-T-Z, and you will find an essay by yours truly about the Hartz program, which is how Germany is warehousing about 10 million unemployed and underemployed. They don't show up as unemployed because they're on the Hartz program, but anywhere else they would be unemployed. Or take a look at Deutsche Welle, right? This is the German, it's along with France 24 and Russia Today and Press TV and others. It's one of your interesting sources at various times for material on international cable television. So Deutsche Welle story, poverty in Germany is at its highest level since German reunification. And this now means that 15% of the German population are in poverty. It means that you're below, you're at least 60% below the poverty line. Okay, that's pretty wretched. And at the same time, remember that the people that escape that do it by a very small margin because they're on Hartz. And Hartz is essentially you have to take whatever rotten, dead-end, low-wage job that you're offered. Okay, now let's think about the presidency here. Let's think about the U.S. Presidential season. We now have two candidates emerging, each of which is committed to being the biggest warmonger in their respective parties. We've got Hillary Clinton, and you know what's with her. We've said this a dozen times. Hillary Clinton is somebody who believes that unless she's the biggest warmonger in the room or in the scene, in the party, she's going to be considered a weak woman. She's going to be considered to be a softie. Now we have Jeb Bush, liberal Republican underneath it all, right? Wall Street Republican. Jeb Bush has now made a speech on foreign affairs where he essentially is trying to be the most extreme warmonger in the Republican Party. He's trying to get some right-wing reactionary warmonger cover because he knows that a lot of people don't like his policies on immigration. A lot of Republican racist reactionaries don't like any soft deviationism on xenophobia, right? Immigration and or Common Core and other things. Without going into the merits of any of that, you can see now that we're locked into a situation with the CIA Bush faction having made a deal with CIA Mormon Mafia, Romney. He's now well launched, and Hillary. And we got new information this week about the Clinton Foundation. The Clinton Foundation has taken in $2 billion. Now, don't tell me that some of that $2 billion cannot be steered through various conduits to pay people off for the Hillary for President machine. Okay, $2 trillion. This is a form of graft. Where does that money come from? It comes from Wall Street. Wall Street is the by far and away biggest contributor to that. And then, so we've got the Republicans, warmonger junction, the Democrats, same story with this dictatorship of mediocrity by way of Hillary Clinton. She's now calling in experts to tell her what she thinks about other things, but I guarantee you she's going to pick the biggest warmongers. Then in the middle, we've got Little Rand. Little Rand Paul is going to try to do his act, but I think this is not going to get him too far. We've seen him flip-flopping, changing, turning.